Please welcome Zuriel Oduwole, filmmaker and girl education advocate.
Thank you. Okay, so before I begin, can I have everyone please turn their phones to silent? So just take out your phones, turn them to silent, and then we're all good after that. Okay, since we all have our phones out, can I please ask all of the women to hand your phone to the nearest man? Okay, I know what you're probably thinking, okay, but just try work with me here. Okay, so for all of the men, okay, once you have those phones, please pay close attention to these instructions. The first thing I want you to do is I want you to remove all of the apps, with the exception of the calculator and the text messages, okay? Great. So once you've done that, I also want you to please remove all of the contacts, with the exception of the woman's mother, because you don't mess with moms, okay? And then once you've done that, I would like you to please set an alarm that would go off in 2 hours, so that once the alarm goes off, the woman would have to give her phone back to you. Okay, wait. Okay, I saw the looks on some of your faces, okay? Some of you are probably thinking this is a joke, right? I'm sure at some point we were all kind of uncomfortable in that exercise. Am I right? Yeah? Okay, so if you were uncomfortable, please raise your hand. Everyone, great. Okay, so we're all in agreement. Yeah, so I'd feel pretty uncomfortable too. And maybe even a bit violated if someone else told me how I wanted to use my cell phone. And maybe even a bit angry if the same rules didn't apply to my brother. And I'm not just talking about someone telling me that I spend way too much time on Instagram either. But what I'm talking about is someone saying things like, no, Zuriel, you can't have your own phone at all. Your brother can, but you can't. And then I start to hear excuses. Things like, it's not safe for you, or it's not appropriate for you, or because of what it would look like if you had one. In other words, what they're saying is, because you're a girl. And then come the real binding statements. Things like, why do you need a phone anyways? Like, what would you do with it? Your brother can have one because he's a boy. Boys are strong, and girls can get hurt. Boys are smart, and girls can be led astray. Boys make wise decisions, and girls don't. Now, thankfully, that is not my reality, and I'm pretty sure it's not the reality for many of your daughters either. But sadly, it is the reality for a lot of girls around the world today. And honestly, it's just a cruel reality. Access to technology really is sexist. And this is just the latest way that girls are being held back. Now, I want to share this short experience with you all very quickly, okay? In June, so earlier on this year, I went to Accra, Ghana, and while I was there, I met with the gender minister. So that would be the Honorable Otiko Jaba. And she said something really profound about her country, Ghana. And there was a nice twist to it. She said that in Ghana, 52% of the population are women. But the other 48% were born by women. So what exactly did women do wrong? And what did girls today do wrong to be relegated around the world? Why are we using new technology that we know can improve our lives to hold these girls back? You and I know what cell phones and what smartphones can do. We can research, learn about new things, meet with people, and even talk with them. Now, I'm a filmmaker, so sometimes I use my phone to shoot scenes, and other times people watch and listen to the things that I have to say on their phones. I can also take photos, find recipes, read stories, ask questions, and solve problems on my phone. And yes, if I have any problems, I know just what to do. I know how to block people or report them if I need to. I can talk to my parents and my friends if I have any unpleasant experiences while I'm on my phone. So, in other words, I know how to keep myself safe. But for many girls out there, we're keeping the best things about a mobile phone away from them, including not teaching them how to use them safely. They don't know what a phone can do, and they don't know what they can do with a phone. Worse still, they're not even allowed to find out. For a lot of girls today, a phone is nothing more than a calculator or a way to call home. So I'm going to show you all this very short film, and it features girls from India, Tanzania, South Africa, Nigeria, and Bangladesh. And they're going to share with you all their experiences with cell phones. Now, the girls that you are about to see are real girls, and they're going to tell you what it's like for them.
Mobile has incredible power to change the lives of millions around the world. But girls are being left behind. What do we really know about girls and mobile phones? Girl Effect and Vodafone Foundation spoke to 3,000 girls and boys in 25 countries to find out. From Kano to Kigali, Lima to Lahore, girls are getting their hands on mobiles, even if more than half are borrowing them. But boys are still 1.5 times more likely to own a phone than girls.
समाज के लोगों के बीच अगर कोई माता पिता अपने बेटे को मोबाइल दे देते हैं तो वही गांव वाले उसे कुछ नहीं बोलते। अगर लड़कियों को दे देते हैं तो वो उंगली उठाने लगती।
She can't just reach into her pocket for her phone. She has to negotiate her access.
मगर यदि वो अपने मोबाइल मांगती है तो वो माँ पापा नहीं देते हैं तो वो अपने फ्रेंड से मांगती है। यदि फ्रेंड से नहीं मिले तो वो अपने बॉयफ्रेंड से मांगती है।
So she's not learning how best to use technology and what it can do for her.
iya mbere rimwe na rimwe ntabwo bakunda kuba bizi cyangwa bakabura ubibigisha kuyikoresha.
Ultimately, a girl's access to mobile is a reflection of the challenges she faces in her wider world. Unlike her brothers, she can be shamed and stigmatized just for being seen with a phone.
Sana ulia batsiga na ukandi fona mara banga uhuli umanya mara ukandi fona mari awumize arumza ndaza.
Mobile has the power to create new connections that change lives. But when girls don't have access, they get left behind. Let's break the barriers and make mobile for everyone.
So that film was part of the first ever global study into how girls are using mobile phones around the world. And it was done by Girl Effect and the Vodafone Foundation. As you saw from that film, in a lot of countries around the world, boys are 1.5 times more likely to own a phone than girls. But it doesn't mean that girls aren't getting phones. Instead, they're having to borrow, or beg, or sneak to use them in secret. They're not getting the chance to learn how to safely use those phones. Now, some of you might be thinking, why should I care? What does all of this mean? Well, it means that we're not setting up half of the world's population with the opportunities that you and I know come with being connected. It also means that we're putting them even more at risk when they do get those phones. So I'm a girl. I'm only 16 years old, and I've pretty much grown up with technology. Because of technology and what I do, I've been able to meet with one-on-one and talk personally with 28 presidents and prime ministers from Europe, Africa, and the Americas about girls and education. And here's the best part. One of the presidents that I spoke to actually invited me back to his country to see the work that he had done to improve education. And that country was Tanzania. When I was 9 years old, I made my first documentary on the Ghana Revolution. And then shortly after that, when I was 12 years old, I made my first full-length feature film. And that film showed in Nigeria, South Africa, Ghana, Japan, and also the UK. My latest film came out last year. I shot it in 5 countries across 3 continents. And it's now been seen in countries like Rwanda, the US, Morocco, Mozambique, Kenya, and Nigeria. In addition to all of that, I've spoken to over 26,000 youths in 14 countries. So places like the US and the UK, and I've also spoken in countries like Tanzania, Nigeria, and Ethiopia about the importance of education. I've also been featured in Elle magazine, New York Times, Forbes, and appeared on news networks like CNN, BBC, CNBC, Bloomberg TV, and I've even spoken at TED. Okay, are you all ready for this? Are we ready? In between all of those things, when I was 10 years old, I started up my foundation, the Dream Up, Speak Up, Stand Up Foundation, to see that every girl in the world has a chance to get an education. Yeah. So I've been able to do all of those things because from early on, I learned how to use technology. Things like computers, cameras, and phones to ask questions, learn how software works, get advice, and also share with the world my incredible journey. And at no one point did anyone tell me that I couldn't or that I shouldn't be doing it. Can you imagine if they did or even tried to stop me? My dad's never come up to me and said, "Hey, Zuriel, what are you doing on that phone?" Okay, well, actually he has, but that's more because he's concerned for my eyes, so that's different. But he's never said things like, "Oh, give me that phone," or "That's not for you," or "Go help your mother in the kitchen." And yes, for those of you who are wondering, that's exactly what my dad sounds like, though he would say otherwise. So in my spare time, I teach a basic filmmaking class to young, unemployed women in Africa. And I started that project when I was 13 years old in Namibia. And originally, it was just a pilot project. But here's the coolest part. Just 9 months after I held that first film class, a young woman who attended it had already made her first documentary. And she was even shopping it around some local news networks, which I thought was just amazing. What do you guys all think? whenever I travel to all these various countries and talk with girls about what I do, they can't believe it, because usually they've learned that technology is a tool for boys. So they ask me things like, didn't your parents tell you that you were too young to have a phone? Or that you're just a girl? Or girls have nothing important to say? No one has ever told them that girls can do just as much as boys, and even sometimes accomplish greater things. No one has ever told them that girls deserve the same support as boys. Do you know that when girls don't use phones regularly, they're not building up the skills and the knowledge that they need to get the most out of them? So they're falling even further behind. And they, along with everyone else around them, carries on thinking that phones and technology aren't for girls. We need to show girls around the world that technology is for them. We need to show them why technology is for them. I mean, look at what it's done for a girl like me. The only difference between the girls in that film and me is that I was never told what I couldn't do. I was only shown what I could do. And that's why it's an honor for me to stand here before you all today. And I want to end by asking you all this. We know what mobile technology can do. But what can you do to make sure that the girls that you saw in that video are benefiting as well? Girl Effect and Vodafone Foundation has tweeted this. We want to hear how you, within your own industries, can help right now. So it could be that you'll educate your teams, or develop products more mindfully, or stand for tech literacy and education in your products. Whatever it is, we want to add your voice to our mission to help us get girls around the world a more equal opportunity. Thank you all very, very much.